All right, as fall is going to be turning into winter soon, I'm going to be looking at doing a couple more projects, and I thought I would get back to this one. This is a big one. This is the 1998 standard STA, stronger than all, made in USA, chromoly, super heavy bike. It's like a boat anchor, but you look at this gusseting on it, which you don't normally see on steel bikes, even dirt jump bikes from the late '90s, which is what this is. Super beefy bike. Just I've never seen one break, and had this bike for a long time. Spent a lot of time stripping off previous mistakes with the paint, and now I finally have some graphics coming directly from Standard uh, in Davenport, Iowa. They're hopefully going to be shipped out within the next week here, and those are going to go on. At that point, we're going to do some U brakes back here, like a 990 style U brake. I'd like to get some wider bars, as it was tradition in the late '90s. Everybody ran slam bars that were cut way down, and this is no exception. So I don't know. I might run them as is. The old S&M slam bar logo there. I'd like to redo the stem, old S&M redneck stem. That could use a little bit of repair to the paint. And then these tires. I mean, these tires they're ancient. The one in the back is super skinny. Probably run some kind of 2.5-inch tire, something maybe a little bit more modern in terms of tires. And then, I'm not gonna take this thing to the dirt jumps or the skate park or anything like that. I'm probably just gonna ride it around and enjoy the fact that I still have it. So, that's I might do something about this too. I'm not real wild about the seat post hardware, and also the post is backwards. So, yeah, I think that's going to be addressed as well. But that's kind of the first order of business. That's the easy one, and then this, as you can see, is just a raw frame. This is my old, I don't know, I want to say from 2000. This is an Azonic DS1. This is a dual slalom bike from the very early 2000s. Very sort of aggressive geometry, very similar to that of like a dirt jump bike. But as you can see, the frame is a little bit bigger, so it kind of falls right in between a dirt jump bike and your sort of traditional cross country bike. That's what I've found, at least. When I was absolutely broke, and the local bike park had first opened, I ended up doing a season riding a bike park on this thing with a blown out old Manitou Sean Palmer fork. And this bike has been through a couple of iterations since then, but largely the parts were stripped off of this thing in order to build my KHS Tucson. Things like the bottom bracket, the headset, stem bars, that kind of stuff was all cranks. Those were all stripped off of the Azonic to build this. quite a while ago, and this has gone through a lot of changes since then. So this bike is running perfectly and is my sort of daily driver. Just 29-inch hardtail, but I'd like to have a 26-inch hardtail again. And I had a lot of good times on this bike. It it's a really cool bike. It's really unique. You have the cables actually go across the top tube, which is interesting. You have all this real heavy gusseting, which I guess isn't that unique for an aluminum bike, even from this point in time. You have the V-brake bosses back here and a disc mount, so we're going to be at least getting rid of the posts back here. But what I'd like to do with this, obviously we're going to sand it. We're going to strip this clear off of it. And, I'd like to put a coat of paint on it. Come on, focus. I have my distortion back here, my GT distortion, which this is just raw aluminum. And I think it looks cool, but I don't necessarily need a 26-inch enduro bike in raw aluminum and a 26-inch hardtail in raw aluminum. So I have some ideas for this thing that are maybe a little bit crazy. I want to get a little wild with some of the parts that I put on here. I have some parts, but I don't really have what I want. What I want this thing to be. So it's going to be a sort of a nice mix of retro and modern. We're going to be going with a modern 10-speed drivetrain with a wide ratio cassette, much like what I have here on the KHS and on the distortion as well. We're going to be running with a wide ratio, narrow wide chainring up front, clutch derailleur, so nice and modern, nice and reliable. You're not going to be dropping chains all the time with this bike. I may do a dropper post, I may not. I haven't really thought too much about that. Modern pedals, obviously we're going to go with something like the race face Chester style pedals, at least, which is what these are. I've been super happy with them. We're going to go with something like that. I haven't really decided on a paint color yet. I have a couple of ideas. We're going to go with you can't find a graphics kit for this bike anywhere. Like, I'm not going to be able to pull a sticker kit from Azonic for this thing, so it's going to be custom stickers made on the Cricket. But I think I can throw something together that's going to be very tasteful and very period correct for this bike. And as far as a fork, as far as a wheel set, I think I'm going to go with an older Fox. That's what I'd like to go with, and I want to run with a Mavic wheel set because I have a Mavic Crossmax rear wheel that's going to work really nicely in here. And I'd like to find a Crossmax front wheel that matches that I can run up front with the Mavic fork, or not the Mavic, the Fox fork. And, potentially run something a little crazy like a Chris King headset. Maybe go a little bit high end with some of this stuff. High end from years past. Obviously, we're not going to be utilizing these V brakes. We're just going to be running a fairly modern disc setup, probably something like an Avid Elixir, or I'd like to find Shimano brakes if I could. I don't have a single bike in here with Shimano brakes. I have, Avid brakes on everything. So it'd be kind of cool to run Shimano brakes for a change, because I don't like their drivetrains, but I do like how their brakes feel. So that's the plan. We're gonna see how it goes. This is certainly not first in line here. It's we got to get some new bars on the distortion. We can't run these old. We could run these old Truvative Wholespellers, but I'd rather not. The distortion's going to be pressed back into service next summer, because I'm going to need a bike that can do, both some we'll call it gravity stuff, but I also need to be able to climb with it. And that's really going to be the best bet. I'm not going to take my downhill bike, and I'm not going to take my 29er, a hardtail. We're going to go with something with a little bit of suspension out back, even though this thing just absolutely sucks at climbing. It's a pretty miserable bike to climb on. But, yeah, got to do the bars on here. Got to do the final details on the STA. Get those two ready to rip anytime I want to use those. The KLR is going to get a fresh paint job. It's going to be, well, that one's going to, I'll leave that one as a surprise. That's going to be kind of a big job. But it's getting a complete paint and graphics refresh. And after all that is said and done, we're going to be on the Azonic. I seriously doubt I'm going to have this thing ready to roll by springtime. If I'm honest, I might have it running by next fall. We'll see. Summer in southern Utah is kind of downtime. It's not real easy to be outside. So I'm going to have some time next summer to put some energy into this, but I at least want to get moving with it in the winter at some point. But on top of that, I have a Cannondale, original made in USA Cannondale back in Pennsylvania that I need to pick up on my next trip out there. And that's going to be the next bike to get built after the Azonic. So maybe I should do my this blue bike. This is the it's a dirt jump bike, and it's also my wife. My wife is quite short, so a dirt jump bike works pretty well. It's just an around town bike for her. So it's a sort of a dual purpose bike, and I'd like to get that done also. That needs a headset and a front wheel and just a thorough going over. But other than that, I'd like to have the whole fleet good to go. Bit of a vintage fleet. The newest bike I have is the Distortion, and it has 26-inch wheels. It was built in 2013, so with that being the newest bike that I have, definitely have some old bikes here, but the majority of them run quite well. Like I said, that KHS did me. That's an old bike. That's an '07, and it did me very, very well all summer. And the distortion, aside from the fact that it doesn't climb, does great. On the rare opportunity that I have to go to a bike park, my Session 88 still runs perfectly well. It did fine up at Bryan Head last time I was up there. So, and my single speed road bike, the Raleigh Rush Hour. It's a single speed road bike, so not a whole lot that can go wrong with that. But that's where we're gonna go with some of these projects. And if you made it all 15 minutes, I appreciate it. And hopefully you'll stick around for seeing where these go.